think we've ever had an election with candidates who understand freedom more differently. For Donald Trump and his cronies, freedom means that the powerful can do whatever they please. Fire workers for trying to organize a union, dodge paying their fair share of taxes, try to draw out your votes when they lose an election, control what women can and can't do with their bodies.
Yeah, I just get tired of Obama. I'm sorry, you guys. This dude here had the opportunity to transform history, to make America head in the direction of doing right by African American blacks. And what he did was lie to us in order to get all of our support, 95%. And to get in office and then realize the wind wasn't blowing in the right direction for him to do nothing like that. What do you have to lose when you're a lame duck president? What do you have to lose? I get that first term. I was like kind of siding with him, like, man, don't do too much. You know, he didn't do anything. He didn't do not too much. He didn't do shit. And the way black people support him and argue and get emotional, and you still run into black people in high numbers to this day, if he could run a third term, would vote for him, knowing what he's done in the first 2 terms for us. Zero. Goose egg. Nothing. Nada. And we would still support him in high numbers. It's just, I think a big part of it is from us being descendants of slaves and having been freed and not really been freed, you know what I mean? To live in a country where words are so abundant and action is absent in most cases. I mean, it's easy to get up and give these speeches and ask for people to come and support Kamala, which is what a former president should do. But a seated vice president should have this former president up there talking about her accomplishments and the accomplishments of her administration. And what in the hell do they only bring up Donald Trump for? You just like, no, that's not it. We need to know that in 2020, see, I'm starting to feel like I'm having deja vu or something. Because in 2020, I was getting this same, he saved the world. This guy is going to drive us off the edge of a cliff. All you have to do is give us your vote and we'll get rid of him. He'll be gone. And we gave you our vote. And if you had gone in that White House, it's not up to Donald Trump to go and disappear or go away or not have ambitions to re-enter the White House. That's not up to us to hope that he just does what we wish he'd do and disappear and go away. That's not his fault that he's ambitious in that way, that he found a way to possibly get back into the White House. And it frustrates you guys because you probably can't beat him in an election. And I mean, the guy's got everything going against him that a candidate could possibly have. And Kamala is still like in a dead heat with him. That should worry the shit out of you. It worries me, but not to the point of where I'm going to lose no sleep, because I have a very difficult time knowing that Obama and Kamala are okay with getting high percentage of black votes and not reciprocating. They're both cool with that. And anybody in their right mind should know that there should be something for our vote. We get absolutely zero, nothing for our vote. We get a bunch of immigrants brought into the country to take up any resources that are allocated for the poor. They just lump them in there with us and then call it an opportunity economy. Yeah. Well, let's hear what Obama's got to finish up with here. But he's with that bullshit if he think that he can just go out there and wave a magic wand or make us feel nostalgic. Oh, it's Obama. We missed him so much. Get your ass off that stage. We ain't voting for her.
In other words, For Trump, freedom is getting away with stuff. We have a broader idea of freedom.
Well, he had freedom back in 2008 and 2012 because he got away with something. He really had black people like in tears. Can you guys imagine what it must have been like for all the civil rights leaders in this country and all the people whose names you don't even know who tried to do the right thing for black people and lost their lives in the process, but they're pulling and fighting and moving in the right direction. And then we get these Obamas and these Kamalas in, and they want to take all these people's hard work and just turn the page and just blend us in with all these other races of people who didn't go through what we went through. So that, and it's very sad because you guys who are over the age of 45, 50 years old, start to look at your children and grandchildren in a way. Can they really be okay out there? Are they armed properly? Do they really understand our history? If you sit one of your grandkids or one of your kids down and start talking to them about black history, and nothing in depth, they ain't got to be yelling out statistics and all that, but just a basic and clear understanding. You know, did they get to meet older aunts and uncles or grandparents or had those people passed on? You know, that's a big part of what made our generation, I think, the way we are. And the last hope, we really need to hang in there. There's some young guys coming up with a lot of energy and a lot of information, and they need support. You know, I mean, we can't just be standing back watching these young guys go out there and put all this on their back with their low numbers and with our low numbers. We need to help as much as we can in what needs to be done, and we cannot let Obama and Kamala Harris fight against where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do. And she's already interrupted California. We were about to get our reparations. You guys know, to summarize, we were about to get our reparations, and when those black legislative leaders from California went to the Democratic National Convention, they came back singing a different song. Somebody talked to them. Everybody know. So you don't have to even say it. We can do the math, connect the dots. But the problem is, that's what we mean to them. People that look that much like us, but on the inside, they got no love. None. Or we wouldn't be dealing with this the way we are. It'd be a whole lot different, folks. A whole lot. For him to be out there on this campaign stump for her is just beautiful. I want her to lose. I want Trump to lose. So I wish they goddamn both could lose. And they really could. We'll talk about that further.
We believe in the freedom to provide for our families if we're willing to work. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send our kids to school without worrying if they come home. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, who we marry, what our family looks like. There is absolutely...
He's got a lot of gall, man, I tell you. You know, when Obama was in office and pushing for that Obamacare, which was his signature piece of legislation, and I get it. If that's what he wanted it to be, it is what it is. But here we are in 2024, still taking this abortion issue and hitting it back and forth like a ping pong ball and arguing, and it's always been brought up, and we've always had it as a scare tactic from the Democrats. They're gonna take abortion. You're gonna have abortions in the trunk of your car. Remember all the just ridiculous. And this dude shouldn't open his mouth and say anything about that topic. If abortion goes away and never comes back, he just need to just eat that one, because he was brought into the White House with a supermajority, a Democratic president, a Democratic House of Representatives, and a Democratic Senate. That kind of shit don't happen all the time. When you get in there, you're supposed to go fucking nuts. You're supposed to have your shit lined up. Have your, what's that lady, Blanche? Damn, she's from Arkansas. I can't remember her last name. And mansions. You gotta have them people in check and be like, look, man, we about to do this shit. You are not about to slow this train down. If you need something for your district, bring that shit out now. You are not about to grandstand and get on the news and slow down what the fuck we're about to do, because we're about to make it happen. But nah, Obama's sitting there negotiating with people he shouldn't be negotiating with and not letting things happen, and he didn't even try. But abortion should be off the table. It should be in the law to the point of where it would take a supermajority, just like what it took to undo it, and it can't be tricked. Though they out hustled us in 3 Democratic terms, 2 Obama and 1 Biden, and we're currently in Biden's, and we had 1 Republican president in there, and that was Trump. And they act like this dude's been in there for 30 years. He's had a 4-year term, and he lost his 2nd term, and you guys made us believe that you had the stuff to have us so excited and happy. All we needed to do was give you the chance, and we did. And now you're asking for another chance, because he's still polling neck and neck with your best chance at the presidency. So I think that it's a bit unreasonable for Obama and Kamala and Biden and anybody else. They lied to us. Biden's head is clear. Nothing wrong with him. He's as good as he's ever been. You know, just ridiculous stuff. You knew this was happening, I believe, and you just didn't want to chance Kamala not winning a primary, because she wouldn't have. She would not have. But to go further with that, you just let her and all the top brass in the Democratic Party lie to us about Joe Biden's mental state, knowing that he wouldn't make it. Knowing that all you guys had to do was what you did. Put him next to Trump, figuring that they're pretty close in age, 3-4 years in age difference, and they start communicating with each other, and Biden is in a fog. And Trump is responding, you know, in a normal time, and Biden is moving like a slow, feeble old man. And you guys knew that would happen, and you knew that this would happen, and you're doing everything in reverse. Kamala Harris, when she first got in the race, and with the big old word on the street being nobody knows her, and with her being sharp in the head and able to articulate her thoughts, y'all should have put her out there then and let her do her media blitz, when she could be going all over the place with nice, reasonable amounts of time in between the interviews or speaking events, where she's being asked questions by adversarial media, and put her on some social media, and then you would know she's trying to put herself out there. She's trying to open herself up to the American public, and it would look more genuine, instead of her hiding for 3 months, and then here we are down to almost a month out, or 30 days or some shit, and now all of a sudden she's doing a media blitz that she decided to make. You don't create problems and for yourself. I got a media blitz. I got 7 videos. I got to do it. Blah, blah, blah. I got these interviews, and I got to... No. You created that. Just like you created the border problem. You open a border up, and then when you close it, the problem's solved, and you go and tell everybody, we knocked down the influx of immigrants into the border by 50%. Well, you the one who knocked it up. Shit, you should have knocked it back down. So with her kind of thinking, guys, we're going to have a problem with that one. We're going to have a big problem with her. And I was talking earlier about, or insinuating, that it'd be a way for her and Trump to both lose. And Jill Stein is on enough states. And if everybody in the country who got some sense, just vote for Jill Stein. And let them both realize you guys just was polling too low. You know what I'm saying? Even if one of them win or get in, I think this is going to be the one we turn the corner. We got to go to a third party. I've never seen 2 rival anythings fight so hard. Like an independent getting involved, or someone who has a real chance of taking a chunk of votes, and now they feel nostalgic. Now they love each other. Oh, they miss just when it was just me and you and nobody else, just us fighting, the Republicans and the Democrats. But when another party comes in, you guys can't handle it, because you do know that you guys are so much closer than anybody could ever imagine. That's why it's so easy for you to support each other in the eye of Donald Trump. You see Donald Trump coming, you're like, we gotta get together. We gotta make this guy go away. And it's very hard to have him as the most popular Republican in the United States, but yet there's active government officials that have to work with him. But then all the Republicans outside of government are trying to work against him, and it's just very disorienting. I don't know who in the world would allow a party to descend to that. Oh, the Democrats. Yeah, both parties are in the mud. I can't believe she got on stage talking about how bad Trump is. He is a horrible candidate. He is. I'm sorry, that's me talking. He got 34 fucking felonies. I know. It seemed like some kind of political bullshit. I get it. But it's still 34 felonies. I used to think back in the day, with felonies or a felony, you couldn't run for president. I thought that was one of the prerequisites. But I don't think it is anymore. I don't know. But I was kind of tripping about that. God damn, 34 felonies. And then she keeps talking about it and saying it. And you think that his name would be mud. Well, he's still polling like real close to her. So I would shut the fuck up. I would quit reminding people what a terrible candidate he is, because it only makes me look bad. Couldn't have it.
Absolutely no evidence that this man thinks about anybody but himself. I've said it before. Donald Trump is a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. You've got the tweets in all caps, the ranting and the raving about crazy conspiracy theory.
Hey, you guys, and this is an example of what Obama and the Democrats are trying to do. And it probably has happened to you in other parts of your life, in your family or people at work. If you ever find somebody who dislikes somebody and they dislike them so much that they try to recruit you, which is what he's trying to do. And I don't even know if he dislikes Trump that much, but they got an agenda and the Republicans got an agenda. But it's like a flag football game. Trump comes along and all of a sudden they putting on helmets and pads. It's a gear. Somebody can get hurt. But when those two duopoly participants are playing with each other, it's so cute to watch. You know how they get in there and they stand up and scream at each other. And then remember a few months back they had that big old thing with Jasmine Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said something about her eyelashes and they had a little cat fight in the. It's just what our government has been diminished to. And when they talk about country over party, and that's how they kind of explain working together. The country is more important than any of the parties. If the two parties that we have are replaced with two more parties or one more party or three more parties, and they were better for the good of the country, then that's what needs to happen, because these two parties are putting us in peril, and I think we all are quite aware of it. But for some reason, we can't get stuck out of the mud. We got to get out of the mud, you guys. We have to look at things for what they are. Don't vote for people who don't do things for you. That's it. And when they turn around to you and say, well, he's going to win. Well, I voted for you last time. And you promised a lot of things, and all you did was let in 10 million illegal immigrants. And, you got to remind them of that shit. You got to keep saying it. Like, she get up on stage and keep repeating that bullshit, those speeches that she give again and again and again. And then she turned a Stump speech into an interview. Somebody couldn't turn her in an interview. The beginning of an interview, say, hey, how you doing, Kamala? How was the drive down here? Was it rainy outside? Well, I was raised in a middle-class family, and my mom worked hard. And we didn't just fall out of a coconut tree and all that bullshit. It just pisses you off to think that a politician who's running for president, who they tricked us and slid her in there and tried to make like the time is short when it really wasn't. And now the time is really short. And now she want to go do interviews. It's ridiculous. And she have to do them, really, because people are saying still in high numbers, we don't know who she is. Now they like, fuck. We should have had her do it earlier. Yeah, but you guys have made a lot of mistakes. And on November 5th or 6th or 7th or whenever we get the results, it won't be no issues. Trump will win and then he'll be happy. He'll accept those results. I promise you. Because you know how he roll with that shit. And he got you guys fooled into believing he really believe that stupid shit. He don't believe that shit. Y'all need to turn the heat up and he'll quit with the bullshit. But if you, man, I would be so scared to call a campaign office and ask somebody anything about votes if I was the actual candidate. I know that. You can't do that. He can't be in a precinct. He can't go walking around in a precinct while voting is going on. He's one of the people on the ballot. You know, a lot of people don't know that stuff. And I don't think know a lot of stuff. He just was doing shit and getting away with it. And then he's like, wow. This country ain't so bad after all. He learned that he is really the president of the United States. And a lot of presidents, they don't delegate. They relinquish. They don't delegate tasks. They relinquish their power to other people. And they make the deal and make the decision and then give it back to the president. And he gets to sign it. But they're relinquishing power and relinquishing the real ability to run the country because they got a lot of help. Because they got these folks who never go away. When the Democrats lose, they put these people over here in the barn and they chill for 4 years or 8 years or however long it takes them to win again. And Republicans are in there with their crew, and that's what I'm telling you guys, the Democrats and Republicans don't want that to change. They like this government. They like it the way it is. Black people are where this government wants us to be, or we wouldn't be here. We're in a position in this country that was of their doing. If you have movements and the people who are leading your movements and getting you to the place that you need to be so that you can negotiate properly with some leverage, your vote. But those people are murdered and assassinated and investigated. And how are you ever going to do? You have to stop. Or you'll be murdered, physically murdered and killed off. And you have to stop. Because we know how far we can go. And I just think that the only thing that's slowing us down really bad right now is the fact that we're so intertwined in the government with people who look like us and people who are like us, and maybe just being on the inside just ain't the best way. Maybe the best way to really make some movement and go somewhere as a group, as a race, especially with our very unique history, would be to disengage, to relinquish all government positions, because we can't be a part of the government that is oppressing us the way this one is, and then making it look like everything's good. Kamala Harris, in many, if not all of her campaign speeches, has pretty much made it clear, for those of you who don't speak that language, she has said everything is good, everybody's good, and everyone in this country is going to be treated the same. There will be no special allowances for anyone. And there are people who are looking at the words coming out of my mouth and saying, yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like a great idea. Everybody get the same. There are people who are black, descendants of slaves, who agree with that, who agree that we're all on equal footing and we should just be given, and it probably wouldn't be that horrible. Be horrible, but it could be stomached if the racism ended, if the police brutality ended, if the 40% of the 13% of this population could be let out of prison, or maybe at least whittle it down to 13%. Something representative of what we really are in this country. But we can't get that because we're dealing with people like Obama and Kamala, who are in there running interference. The Black Congressional Caucus, all the senators and Congress people who are black. They're in there for themselves because they're not in there for us. How in the hell can you still be fighting for the same thing year after year after year after year, and no way you're progressing? The wealth gap is just alive and well, if it's not even going further apart, but it ain't going that way. Why are we doing this, you guys? Why are we giving our vote? And why are we sitting there racking our brain over who's the worst? They're both bad candidates. Don't vote for either one of them. One of them's going to win, probably, pretty assuredly. But it would at least let them know that they ain't going to be talking about, I got the most votes in U.S. history. No, you didn't. You might win, but you might be the winner with the least votes in U.S. history. Maybe that would be more appropriate for this race. These two are the worst. Fuck, the worst.
Yeah, the 2-hour speeches, word salad, just, it's
You're
like
talking about Kamala.
Fidel Castro. Just on and on. Constant attempts to sell you stuff. Who does that?
You do that. Because you sold us a whole presidency. You sold us 2 terms. And what did we get for it? They what's his name? Mitch McConnell even once went as far as to call Obama reparations. And can you imagine? And that's what I got pissed about that. And let me tell you a little story, and then I got to get out of here. But I got pissed when Mitch McConnell called that shit reparations for Obama. We had a black president. Remember he said that? So he looked at that as kind of like reparations. Well, if you have a black president but he don't do nothing for you, that's like a slap in the face. It's like, those are our reparations? Wow. And then they try to pull that shit again with Kamala. And this is the problem that I got with her. Jim Clyburn is the one. Jim Clyburn got to go. That dude 80-something years old. He got to go. He has to go. He's from a time when the country was very different, and he's okay with that. We're not. And he's got to go because the country hasn't changed very much for him. They still treat him the same way they used to, and he's okay with it. But Jim Clyburn is the one who dreamed up that black woman vice president shit and negotiated with Biden and then made it like it was our request. It wasn't our request. None of us ever thought of that. And then they threw Ketanji Brown in. But the thing about Kamala is that the United States was told Biden is gonna select a black female VP. And he didn't. He selected Kamala Harris. She's not a black female VP. And when he said that shit, he meant an African American descendant of slaves. That's what he meant. That's what you're talking about when you say black. You ain't talking about no black, and then you go and get a black woman from the Caribbean, or a black woman from Puerto Rico, or a black woman from India or somewhere because their skin is no. You know what you're talking about when you know exactly what you're talking about. You got it right with Ketanji Brown. You got it right with all the other women you put in your cabinet. But that one position, that top one, that one went to Kamala because you probably had no one else even close to as loyal as she is to the Democratic Party, not to the people. And whatever the reason was, that's another empty suit like what we got out of Obama. Obama just did nothing for us, and he was looked at as reparations. Well, she was handed to us almost out of his mouth saying, here's your reparations. I'm picking a black VP. I mean, basically, he didn't pick the best candidate. He picked a black VP female. That's what he said. And then here we come, fast forward, missing the primary and all this shit. Joe Biden picked that was supposed to be a slick trick to make sure we can get a black female president, and the Democrats could feel like they pulled it off and see, we did something for them. But she ain't going to give us reparations either, and she's not going to do anything for us. So you guys need to start allowing us to pick our own reparations and pick the things that we need that are going to benefit us, and stop selecting for us, or you'll continue to do the things that you've done historically in this country. And then if we ever do just get fed up with it and begin to protest, then people got to die. So, so people don't have to die, start working on yourself. Start learning to release us and give us reparations that we request. And people can't be reparations. Obama can't be, as we have seen. Kamala has made it clear she's not gonna be. But she can't be either, technically, because she's not a descendant of slaves in America. So with that being said, folks, I would like for you to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.